So this upcoming Wednesday brings along with it the new Warzone integration with Modern Warfare 3 Season 1. That means all the Modern Warfare 3 weapons, camos, operators, cosmetics, and even mechanic sets will be added to the Warzone gameplay loop. And with that, there's a ton of things that fundamentally will be changing about Warzone from Modern Warfare 3. But today, I want to run down all the key changes that you need to know about. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, and consider subscribing if you're part of that 60% of viewers who are not subscribed to stay on top of everything with the best settings, loadouts, tips and tricks, news and information regarding Warzone and the Modern Warfare 3 integration. Finally, check out my friends over at G Fuel for up to 30% off your entire order and to fuel your COD grind this Warzone season, but more on that a little later. For now, let's jump into what you need to know. First, let's start at a top-down level. The big ticket items, of course, the new Warzone big map of Urzikstan replaces Al Mazrah. Al Mazrah will still be playable in DMZ for Modern Warfare 2, and we'll get to that in a second because there's a bit more to that as well, but Urzikstan will be that new big map BR map that we have for the next year, with points of interest like Pop-Off Power, Levin Resort, Zaravan City, Suburbs, Low Town, Old Town, Cargo, Orlov Military Base, and more. You may be familiar with some of these already if you played either Ground War or you played Zombies, because they're the same map. Ground War maps being taken from the Warzone map, and then, well, the Zombies map is just truly the Warzone map, but with zombies and AI and a different skybox and thematic feel to it. You'll also see additional maps here with the carry forward Warzone content, as they call it, with Vondel and Ashika Island both staying in the game this time. We don't have any sort of timed exclusivity where everyone's forced to play Urzikstan in the big map BR this time around. You can jump right back into Ashika Island or Vondel if you'd like, with all the new mechanic sets and the gameplay changes on day one instead of having to wait a couple of days or weeks at this point. We'll also see the modes of play of Battle Royale, Resurgence, and Plunder on day one as well. Lockdown and a new LTM of the Sleigh Ride Resurgence are coming in season, but that's what we have at day one. But that said, that's the top level stuff here, the big things that are kind of across the entire board of play, but there's also a ton of key gameplay changes with this update as well. Starting with the movement we can talk about. At launch, we'll see things introduced with Modern Warfare 3 or reintroduced with Modern Warfare 3 in a lot of cases coming over into Warzone. Things like slide canceling, tack stance, ADS while sliding, running while reloading, a slight movement boost with the Stim Tactical if you want to end up doing that Stim boost again, not to the degree that you could in Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone 1 at that point, but additionally some other things as well. But beyond movement updates, we see a lot of gameplay updates. At launch, we'll see the following and more. So firstly, the backup pistol. This is something that will allow you to have a dedicated pistol for swimming, water play, and ladder traversal, no matter the loadout. You could end up having two primary weapons, but you'll still have that third in those engagements, again, for going up those ladders or being in the water, so that you always have it equipped and ready for that gunfight if necessary. Otherwise, you won't pull it out, so it's not something like you'll have that, hopefully, no bug of pulling out a pistol instead of your second primary, but that is something that, again, for those situations, you're finally gonna be able to shoot back and stay alive a little longer. We also see some improved water combat where there's improvements to visibility to see targets both in and out of the water. There's the manual gas mask, which you can now manually choose when to equip that gas mask. It said when looking at a gas mask on the ground, players are presented with two options. Equipping the gas mask will begin the equip animation of putting it onto the player's face. Stowing the gas mask will place it in the backpack for players to manually equip at a later time. As a result, the animation will no longer interrupt gameplay, and importantly, players will only hear the heavy breathing when in the gas. Now, I'm hoping this is something that is more intuitive, because on paper, yes, that sounds great, but at COD Next, when we actually got to play with this, it admittedly sucked. Like, it was not good. It was clunky to put on, and I think you actually had to full drop it to end up picking it back up to stow it, if I remember correctly, but it wasn't great. So hoping that this is now, again, intuitive is probably the best way to describe it, but hoping that's a little more fluid. We'll see the introduction of the experimental gas grenade, where Tear Gas Tactical now does gas damage and can be countered by the gas mask. We have dedicated ammo slots again, with specific new backpack slots for ammo, allowing quick and easy access, just like the original Warzone. You have those automatically filled, so in theory, you'll have the availability to use or drop any type of ammo so long as you run over it at any point, but you can also still take additional of whatever you prefer, AR, pistol, and SMG. Whatever the case, you can still take more to stow in additional spots in your backpack, but you'll just end up having that base sort of level of them. Loot rarity is returning here, where weapons, equipment, kill streaks, field upgrades, and all return to those colored loot cards, giving a quick reference, color theory-based approach to the UI. Personally, I really like this. It's one of those non-issues for so many people, but for me, it's one of those minor things that I just love, and especially now to see it back, very happy about that. Contract activation laptops are now coming, which this wasn't seen at COD Next to my recollection, but it sounds like this will be a new way to activate contracts, a perhaps more easily identifiable thing, which will be interesting for sure. We also see the updated TAC map icons. These now look more like the originals from Warzone 1. The classic red dots return, so silencers and suppressors are now going to help out big time and be very important for loadouts. You can still go loud if you want to, but again, you'll be giving away your position if somebody's in the vicinity. Also, we'll see improved loot spread with better loot distribution, and all quality of life changes made in the last year carry forward. So we're going to see all that stuff that happened in the past year now come into the full game as well again. We'll see new perks introduced where those are available in your loadouts, where Irradiated allows you to move faster and take less damage while in the gas. Resolute, when taking damage from gunfire, this will grant a short bonus to movement speed. Shrouded will drop a smoke grenade when you're downed. Mountaineer will reduce fall damage. Stalker will increase strafe and aim down sight movement speed. Escapist will increase downed, proned, and crouch speed. Primed will increase accuracy and time to aim down sight speed while jumping. And Faculty will delay triggered explosives while sprinting and warns of nearby enemy equipment and reduces combat noise. We also have the returning perks of Tempered, now also available as a custom perk, where it'll allow you to refill your armor plates to full in 2 plates instead of 3, and Combat Scout, where bullets you fire briefly ping an enemy for you and your squad. Hitting the enemy from further away increases that ping time. So not a huge fan of that returning, but I mean, it is what it is. With so many different perks out there now, we'll see if that's even something people really gravitate towards, but it's returning from Warzone 1. We also have a new base perk set added. So to preface, it said the perk system currently in Warzone continues, with operators choosing from either a preset or custom perk package consisting of 4 perks which become active once your loadout is claimed. Perk packs can also be found in ground loot, whether dropped by an eliminated player or found in supply boxes. Movement and rotation opportunities on the big new map of Urzikstan has also been a key focus of its design, so in the new chapter of Warzone, players will also find themselves with several perks that are now simply enabled by default at all times. These including the tactical pads, which improve slide distance and allows for ADS while sliding, along with increased stance transition speeds, commando gloves, which enable reloading while running, quick grip gloves, which allows for increased weapon swap speed, the climbing boots, which increase climbing and mantling speeds, and overkill, which allows you to pick up 2 primary weapons. You are always going to have these bonuses in play and will never have to worry about them equipping as a perk to get them. That to me is really cool. Essentially giving you 9 perks with the perk package when you pick up your loadout. So big fan of that. I think that's really cool to see that, and I think it's going to help the fundamental, just base gameplay loop. Other things we'll end up seeing as a change here in Urzikstan, we're going to have the drivable train as a mobile POI. Comes with a buy station, UAV tower, horn, ammo depot, guaranteed legendary crates as all the other ones have in the past, a handbrake, and engine controls that you can stop it, you can change the direction of the train. You're in control of this thing, which is definitely cool. We have horizontal zip lines to further traverse the world. That's something that if you've played zombies, you've absolutely seen this already. Very big help in a lot of cases as well. We'll see returning contracts of the big game bounty coming back, where that's a bounty on the player with the most eliminations in that match. So if you take them down, the sort of high kill king, then you end up getting an advanced UAV that pops immediately. So letting you see where everybody is, regardless of if they're ghosted or not. Additionally, unlike regular bounties when they aren't bugged, these will always target the player with the most kills in the lobbies. So if you end up killing the team with the most kills in the lobby, that's something you can do it again, because somebody's going to take that spot as the next remaining most kills in the lobby. Obviously, it doesn't target your squad if you are the slayers in the lobby, but you get what I'm saying with that. So it's pretty nice, because unlike bounties where previously, again, when they aren't bugged, each team can only be targeted once each individual game. So you'll end up getting sometimes sort of like consolation or provisional loot where it doesn't actually give you the bounty. It'll just give you some small stuff for picking up the contract. Big game bounties can work all the way down into a 1v1 at the very end of the match, where it will tell you where that player is in a general vicinity. So very good contract to end up picking up. The flyby event is something that's going to be active, where drones fly by with buy stations that you can shoot down and use for yourself. And we also learned of updates to strongholds, which they said in order to make each match unique, strongholds now have been moved to the public event system, where there's a percentage chance of them becoming accessible to infiltrate during an infill. As a result of this change, players may also encounter cash drops during infill, and may also find black site keys in ground loot, allowing you the opportunity to open a black site in any match, even if you don't capture a stronghold. So that's a change that we saw implemented from COD Next, and when we end up having the ability to end up playing on Urzikstan a little early. We of course have a new gulag. That is going to be something that, in terms of layout, mimics that of the original gulag showers, which I still think is the best gulag we've had in terms of layout, in terms of just simple 1v1 gunfight tactics at that point. But that's something that'll be interesting. We'll have, of course, a new way to escape. There's no overtime flag. You have to zip line out of there. And also you can get the rare chance where you end up having the gulag actually in night, where it's all pitch black and you have to use NVGs, which definitely changes up the gameplay feel of that. So that'll be something that is a random event as well. And then finally, beyond what we see at launch, we'll have new content coming in season, where they detailed a new covert exfil. And this one's weird to me because it sounds like, just like DMZ and zombies, you can exfil in Battle Royale. You can clock out early of a game and avoid the rest of it if you want. For whatever reason, I don't know. The only thing that I could think of would be useful is the upcoming new weapons cases introduced as well, where similar to DMZ, we'll get collectible loot items you can end up looting by picking up that weapons case and extracting with it likely. So that'll be something that's interesting to see how that works out, placed in now mode where everybody's weapons hot, where everybody's trying to kill everybody. DMZ, obviously some people went for PvP, a lot of people didn't though, so it's definitely going to be a different scenario when you pick that up. Probably going to have a much bigger target on your head. Then the Champions Quest is going to be returning. No word of if there's going to be one live that continues from Season 6 into what we have with Season 1, where you still have the same rewards and everything, but with the in-season introduction of the new one, you can actually steal it once if you end up killing the team that has the nuke contract active. That only happens once, so if you pick it up off the team that you killed that was on the nuke contract, you end up having the opportunity to complete it, but if some other team comes in and kills you, they can't pick it up. So it doesn't continue on forever. It's just one additional go after that for the team that does eliminate and completely wipe that squad that has the nuke contract. So that's something that's definitely interesting and will be very, very annoying sometimes if you're going for that, but it does add value to that contract and does make it a bit tougher. So that'll be something that's interesting to see, but that is Warzone and the changes at hand here come launch and a little bit beyond. Now, I mentioned before we wrap everything up that we'd come back to the topic of DMZ, because that is something that Al Mazrah will still be available within DMZ in Modern Warfare 2, but unfortunately for DMZ fans, that's kind of the extent of what you'll see with DMZ. They officially stated, "We would like to thank the entire community for their support and continued feedback on the DMZ beta. Infinity Ward and all the development teams who contributed to the creation of DMZ are incredibly proud and delighted to see the enthusiasm and participation that you've shown since its release, and to see so many players pouring into the MWZ mode in Modern Warfare 3, which has so many DMZ-inspired gameplay aspects within it. Beginning with next week's launch of Season 1, DMZ beta players can continue the mode via the Call of Duty Warzone section of the COD HQ. The DMZ beta will remain fully playable across all current DMZ content, including Al Mazrah, Ashika Island, the Koshi Complex, Building 21, Vondel, as well as all DMZ missions. The mode will not be available or interactable directly within Modern Warfare 3 or Call of Duty Warzone, which means the progression of any new Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone content, including Battle Pass or store bundles, will not sync or carry back into this DMZ mode. Also, DMZ progression will not apply to the new Battle Pass beginning with Season 1. We recognize that not having cross progression within Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone may be frustrating for some players, but we felt now was the time to take all the learnings from the beta that we could apply toward future development efforts as we evolve this style of play. We also know that many players still enjoy the mode and wanted to ensure that everybody can keep playing, which is why we're keeping a variety of content available. Going forward, development teams will continue to evolve these dynamic open world experiences into the future. We look forward to sharing updates when ready." So as it stands, DMZ is still playable, but there are no real future plans in terms of adding new content. And it's entirely separated now at this point from the cross progression systems, which is the first time we've actually seen this now happen within the Call of Duty franchise since cross progression became a thing. In the sort of bubble of Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, and Vanguard, everything progressed and everything counted towards one thing or the other. Everything was cross progression, but now with this, DMZ is not going to count towards anything, even though we still have those other game modes and other aspects live and progressing throughout that it could have been. Right now, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. So DMZ, for those that love it, again, hate to be the bearer of bad news. I really don't like talking about this. I know it gets memed a lot in the comments where people are like, "Oh, Espresso just wants to see DMZ die." I don't. I really liked DMZ. It was something that was a lot of fun, but it is going to be something that is now sort of left off in the dust here. Infinity Ward now working on presumably Modern Warfare 4 for 2026 likely. But anyways, yeah, that's the DMZ update to all of that. And of course, that is what we're going to round out the changes coming to Warzone with Modern Warfare 3 and the Season 1 update and integration. So that is what we're going to call it. Before we wrap everything up, make sure to check out my friends over at G Fuel. Code Espresso can get you up to 30% off your entire order here. So if you're planning on grinding out either camos or weapon levels here in the final couple of days before Season 1's launch, or you're just grinding out Warzone and the new Urzikstan map and trying to do everything you can here with all that, all the new changes in gameplay, whatever the case, G Fuel can absolutely help you guys out. They're like my cup of coffee in the morning. For me, I'd personally recommend the Morbius Nectarine flavor, Hype Sauce, Pink Drip, Starfruit, My Team Carnage, our flavor of Pog Juice. Love all of those and more. Can't recommend them enough. So if you guys want to check those out or any others, link in the description below where you can get up to, again, 30% off with code Espresso. But for now, that is what we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of the changes here within Warzone with the Season 1 integration for Modern Warfare 3? Like it, dislike it, whatever the case, drop your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone as we gear up for a very busy Season 1 and beyond. I'd love to have you in the community. For now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.